I'm gonna do my Elvis collar.
If you want to. If you want to be Elvis, you can be Elvis. It's all right. How old is that vest?
You know who gave me that vest?
Who?
Ronnie.
Did he?
It was old
Yeah.
when I got it, and he gave it to me 20-some years ago.
My coat's pretty old. We've had it. It was yours. I had it a long time.
Yeah, it's an old Caballas fleece.
I burned it somewhere. You see a hole? Last year. There.
How'd you do that?
I can't remember exactly.
That's how you do the stuff that I give you. That's how you treat it.
No, I try to be careful, but I don't know. Anyway. Do you think we're going to get wet?
Probably.
Probably.
I think we'll live, though. It ain't like we're little bitty baby infants.
We might.
We can stand a little rain.
Yeah. Matt and I were hoping to work outside today, but it's raining, so we're not going to be able to. I was hoping Matt could plow the rest of the garden. That's what you wasn't hoping, though, was.
I like rain.
We are really grateful for the rain. We are so dry here, and there's been so many forest fires all across our region, so we're really thankful for the rain, and I hope that it puts out all the fires and helps. Definitely it'll help the gardens too, the fall things. It's not been a heavy rain, just kind of steady, mizzling.
Yeah, just a light drizzle all
Yeah.
day, all morning.
A little bit heavier at times, but not heavy at all compared to some rains. I wish it was, though, because we really need it. We're so dry, and especially those areas affected by the fires. I know they need a really torrential downpour to put out the fires. Anyways, we can't do that, so we think we're going to amble off the goat bluff and go see what's going on at the creek. Lots of leaves down here at the creek.
Pretty.
I love this big rock. We used to sit on it, and Pap used to have a cup hanging here. He could drink out of the creek when he was working in his garden. Steve's kind of cleared it out where it's not as brushy as it used to be. But I used to love to sit on this rock, though. You can tell the creek's down because we've not had much rain. So many different kinds of moss grow in our mountain holler. Look at this right here. Isn't that pretty? Growing down here by the creek. I think moss is really special. It's one of my favorite things. Just hiding under the leaves. It's not Christmas time yet, but this tree's already decorated. Look at those beautiful holly berries. The green of the laurel leaves is so pretty against the leaves and the water. Lots of leaves. As usual, Matt's found some rich pine. He's always on the lookout for it. Pretty good?
Pretty good stuff. It's a little wet, but it don't matter.
I think we have friends.
And there's a bunch of them. Ain't they?
Yeah, they're sending a warning to Steve.
Yeah.
Lots of crows just over my brother Steve's house. Maybe a warning to us since we were down in that area.
Yeah.
I sure am thankful for the rain, even though we can't work outside today. Can't do what was on our plans, tilling up the rest of the garden. But the rain is nice.
It is, made everything smell good.
Oh, it smells so good, especially down by the creek and in the woods. All the leaves. Matt's been busy hunting. He's had, since our last video, he's got 2 more deer in Georgia. He went to Georgia and was hunting with Papa.
Got 2 more. That makes 4
What were they?
does.
I meant to say, what did you kill them with?
What I kill them with?
Yeah, is it gun season
Yeah,
there?
it's
I
gun
can't.
season.
I get so mixed up. It's like gun season one place, but not another place. So it's not gun season here in North
No.
Carolina.
Still bow season here. But it's gun season down there. And will be till 14th or so of January, I think.
I know, I see him. Our neighbor's dog has come for a visit. has really enjoyed being able to hunt more this year.
That's a fact.
For many years, about 6 years, when we worked at the college, he had more time off. But once he started working for the county, you just got basically 1 week, right?
Yeah, I mean, I could have got more. But the problem is, once you get that 1 week, it took about a year to get it. The only way to gain more is to not take it and then wait another year to get another week. And I don't have willpower to do that.
Yeah.
So I'd take the week and then it'd take another year to build that up. I mean, it just
Never did get
more time than that, just because I would take it. And it's people that's spent a career there, been there 25, 30 years, of course, had the maximum amount. And the longer you're there,
the more
you accrue
get.
more time. You accrue more each month. And I wasn't at that point yet, and wasn't ever going to be. So
Yeah.
about a week or so was the best I could do.
So it's the first time you've really got to hunt without feeling pressured in about 6 or 7 years.
Well, actually, in many years,
Well,
because
I mean, even at the college, you couldn't just take off all the time. But
no, but I've enjoyed it, and I'm going to keep enjoying it.
yeah, I've been so happy. That's one of the many reasons I wanted Matt to get to come home and work with me, but that was one of the main reasons, so that he could go. Because if you just go hunting whenever he wanted to, and do the other things he likes to do, but if you just have 1 week, then you put it on the calendar because you got to work it out with everybody else. Then gets that week, it seems like it would never fail. It'd be that week, and it would be a warm spell.
It'll be hot.
And Matt would go to Georgia to hunt, and it would be 80-degree weather, even though it was November or whatever. So, and then you're just locked into it. That's just all you got. That's all you got.
It was in the low 80s last week down there when I was there. But the few days prior to that, when I first went down there, it was highs in the 60s and then lows in the low 30s in the morning, and that's good weather for there.
Yeah.
But now I've got time I can hunt all of it now. So
Yeah.
back,
Nice.
very nice.
Very nice. And thank you. You helped us do this, so thank you. Matt has really, really been enjoying himself, though.
Yes, I have.
And been able to because he's had more time, been able to get more of our food, too, so.
Yep,
I am ready for it to be cold weather, though.
me too. We had a little cold weather a few days ago, and it warmed right back up.
But it was very unusual to have that cold. It was really cold so early. But yeah, it warmed right back up.
Got to build a fire for a couple of days or 3, and then it
warmed
got
up
back
enough to where
summertime.
you didn't need the fire no more. So that was another thing we were going to do today, is replenish the wood pile. But
Yeah, it'll just have to wait.
yeah, unfortunately, I don't think the rain's going to last long. I wish it would be a heavy soaking rain for 3 or 4 days.
Yeah,
but
it's not going to do that.
no.
It's actually going to blow out and be clear tomorrow and then rain again Sunday, from what I understand. I mean, another chance of rain. I don't know how much it'll be, but
Maybe more.
there'll be a little bit more rain Sunday, maybe.
Yeah.
You done eat your popsicle?
I done eat it. I
My
was
goodness.
hurrying. I was afraid mine was going to fall off the stick today.
Well, I wasn't going to take it away from you. You didn't have
It
to eat
wasn't.
that fast.
It wasn't that. It was that the stick was coming out, and I just knew it was going to land in my lap if I didn't hurry.
Okay.
It was good though. Coconut,
Yeah.
toenail, suntan lotion, whatever you call it. It's almost like a dessert. It's so good.
It's like SPF 50.
Yeah. I made some candy roaster cookies. Was that yesterday or day before, and we've been enjoying them.
Oh, yeah.
They taste like fall for sure. I'm getting excited thinking about the holidays, and can't believe Thanksgiving's almost here. It's kind of bittersweet, of course. Without Miss Cindy, it will be. But also, she always, I mean, for years, she just said, don't worry about it. You work, you're busy. I'll take care of it. She would do my shopping for me. So she'd hunt around for the perfect turkey, hunt around for the perfect ham. And so this is the first year, and I don't know when, that I've had to buy a turkey. She just took care of that for me. She just went and would shop around till she got the best deal, and bittersweet.
Not only did she shop around, buy the ham, she cooked it.
Oh yeah, and she was good and made the best ham of anybody.
It was very good.
Yeah, we have a video with her actually showing how to make the ham, so we'll link to that. But so good. I don't know if we'll have ham this year. We just have a turkey and a deer roast, deer ham.
It's fine with me. Just whatever you lovely ladies would like is what we'll do.
Corey was talking about, I always make the rolls, the same rolls. I've been making them for years. It's like I wouldn't be welcome to Thanksgiving for our family if I didn't have those rolls. But Corey was talking about them and talking about wanting to take some with her to Austin's family when she goes for Christmas. And I started wondering if I couldn't. I recently did a video about how last year I learned that I could freeze my biscuits and then for Matt to take deer hunting, and they're so good. Corey swears they're better, they're better frozen than they are fresh. Anyway, I started thinking about that. I mean, Corey started thinking about that and said, I wonder if we could freeze the rolls like that. And I remember you can buy like rolls, Parker House or something, rolls that come in a bag. They used to come in a bag. I don't know what they do now, and they're just like the little blobs of dough, and you set them out, let them thaw, and let them rise, and then bake them. So it's like that you're at that place where you need to do the second rise. So I wonder if I couldn't freeze my rolls like that.
I think you probably could.
I try to make them every Christmas morning or Thanksgiving morning, like before our big meal, just because I think they're so much better if you make them on the day of. But that puts you in a bind.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Especially at Christmas when you're trying to open presents, but no, you got to cook before everybody else gets here. And our family don't like to wait to eat, do they?
No, they don't.
They don't. They want to eat at dinner time. They don't want to wait till that evening.
They show up and the food's still in the oven, their jaw drops.
Yeah. Used to when Corey and Katie was little, and we'd still all eat at Pap and Granny's. They'd be calling us, "Are y'all coming? We're ready to eat. Can you just come on? We're hungry."
When are y'all coming?
Yeah. So Granny's funny. She'll be eating her dinner at 10 o'clock in the morning because she gets up early. Paul's so nice. He fixes her breakfast, but he has to do it before he leaves to drive the bus and go to school and all that. So she may be up at 5 o'clock in the morning eating breakfast, and then we'll go back to bed. But then she'll get up and she'll be like eating dinner at 10 o'clock. Mm-hmm. She tries to give it to me. I'm like, no, I just had my breakfast. I can't eat that big again. Anyway, lots of things to be excited about.
Yep.
Always makes me feel good to go down to the creek, though, and walk around. Revives you somehow to be outside no matter when it is. I mean, whether you're at the creek or just outside walking around your house, it gives you some energy somehow.
Good fresh air.
Yeah, the fresh air really does something for you. We're big believers in that. If you even if you can just take a loop around the house and come back in, you feel better.
Right.
But I love being down there around the creek because it's just part of me, part of my childhood growing up and all that. And I wrote about it one time, long time ago on the Blind Pig and the Acorn. That sometimes, because it's where I played when I was a girl, it's where I've always loved to walk and to look at and just watch it and drop the leaves in and watch them go down, or sticks or whatever, or laurel leaves in the summer, ivy leaves, whenever. Just to play. We played in it. We dammed it up. We done, when we were kids. But I wrote about that sometimes it called to me at the most inopportune times. I'd be washing dishes and think about going to the creek and couldn't go, or way in the middle of the night, wake up and think about it. And of course you can't go to the creek in the middle of the night, or I guess you could, but Matt might wonder where I'd went.
I'd go with you.
If I'd done that. Anyway, that's the trappings of adulthood. But in that post that I wrote, Katie had asked me, that's what had made me start thinking about it, was she'd said, well, why don't you follow the call anymore? Because she has that same call. She feels it too about the creek. And I said, that's what happens when you become an adult and have responsibilities. So going down there always reminds me, though, of the times playing in it as a kid, and then taking Corey and Katie to it to play in it when they were little. Yeah. They built forts in it and dammed it up just like we did, and with their cousins. And I suppose Pap did the same thing too.
I'm sure he probably did.
He played in it too and dammed it up and enjoyed it. Earlier this week on the Blind Pig and the Acorn, I wrote about, or I shared an excerpt. I wasn't really writing about it. I just shared it from it's actually from Dory Woman of the Mountains, my favorite book about Appalachia. It's like a biography her daughter wrote about her life. And I've read it here on YouTube, so if you hadn't heard it, I'll link to that too, and you can hear me read the whole book. You don't even have to get it and read it. But it is a wonderful book. Anyway, it's at the very end of the book, and she's saying they went back to this place kind of where they started, where her mother and father lived, and it'd been 10 years, and she was talking about how everything looked the same. I mean, there'd been some changes, but especially the tree, the oak tree, is what she's focusing on, is not changed. And she was thinking about all the things it had weathered, the snow, the cold, the rain, the heat, and it was the same. And she's, thinking, how could that be? We've been gone 10 years. And then she's decided it was roots. And, of course, she was thinking, roots, it stayed right where it was at, and we traveled all around. We've been gone. She names all these different places they'd lived in 10 years. Her husband was a logger, so they followed the logging camps. Anyway, and then she told about, hey, it's okay.
Yeah, come on.
It's okay. We'll take a break. We've got company. We'll take a break for a minute. Yeah. Okay, Matt and I had a brief intermission. Our niece April and her husband Zach and their sweet little baby Asa come to see us, so we went in and enjoyed them and got to hold the squishy baby and talk to them for a while. They're visiting, and so we were excited to see them. Mm-hmm. So what I was saying was, I was talking about the thing that I had put on the Blind Pig and the Acorn this week about Dory, a little excerpt from there, and talking about roots. And, she was comparing the big oak tree to how it had stayed there while her family had traveled all around. And she was saying their roots was more like kind of like a summertime flower that's just, it's just an annual. It sprouts up and blooms and all that, but withers because it doesn't have any strong roots, and it's, frost tender and all that. Anyway, so I was sharing that. I shared that little excerpt on the Blind Pig and the Acorn, and it just started this real conversation with lots of different people sharing that they had, maybe they lived in the same place. Some people, I think, even said they'd lived in, like, their parents passed away, and then they lived in they raised their family in their same house they grew up in. And then there was people, of course, that said, they wished they could have done that, but they had to leave for work, and they never got to go back home. And other people, had worked and then went back home as soon as they could, as soon as they retired. And then, of course, there was some people that said, I like to move around, so I've never put down roots like that. I might live somewhere for 2 or 3 years, and then I move and live somewhere else, and that's just what I like, and that's how I do things. So it was really interesting, though, to read all the different stories from people. Of course, for me, I've only lived in this area, other than the little bit of time I spent in Haywood County when I met Matt. But in my entire life, I've lived in 3 houses. One over in Martins Creek, Sherlock's we called it. Pap and Granny rented that house, and then Pap built the house that Granny lives in today. That was the house I was mostly raised in. I think I was about 5 years old when we moved in it. And then, of course, once me and Matt were married and had Corey and Katie, I moved into this house. So my roots certainly are very deep in Wilson Holler here. It's interesting for me to think about looking back. I just, on a day-to-day basis, I don't even think about Matt, not that this is not his home, because he's been here so long now, but he wasn't born here or raised here. So
I've been here longer than where I grew up now at this point, so it's kind of the same. Roots thing.
Yeah, definitely now. Your adult life, for sure.
Yeah.
When me and Matt were dating, I lived out there, so we were out there. But when it come time when Matt asked me to marry him, when we decided we was going to get married, I don't know, we just somehow gravitated to out here. I, of course, wanted to come home. I wanted to be with my family, with Pap and Granny and Paul and Steve. And
I knew that.
And Matt knew that. He wanted me to be happy. He liked it out here too, though, especially because it was less populated.
Yeah.
It's not as big population-wise. It's grew a lot since me and Matt's been out here. I mean, since we've been married. But it was much less populated than Haywood County.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. And it's kind of, even now, even with the growth, it's still, where we are right here is still fairly rural. And it's been that way, gosh, almost 30 years now.
Yeah.
And it's still not overcrowded or anything, so it was a good decision.
Yeah. Haywood County has a lot of rural areas too, but it also has just more of population, more industry, closer to Asheville, the industry there, just more people.
Right.
Just more people live there. So it's interesting to think about those roots, though, and like I said, everybody has a different view of them. I really value mine, and, me and Matt, if all those creepy AI things ever come true and we really were worth $25 million, which I don't think so, I would want a farm. I'd want somewhere where we could grow corn and have cows and
I'd keep right on doing just
horses.
like we're doing.
Right. So we would have to move from right here because you can't have that right here. But other than that, something like that happening, I can't see us moving or leaving.
Yeah.
For us personally, it's just our values, and because I have such a close-knit family, and Matt now has part of my family for all these years, and so those are ties that bind you to the place that you're at. But it also is part of, wouldn't you say, part of the, like, all the scholars and people that talk about Appalachian, like, kind of personality traits and different traits they have. One of them you always hear them talk about is sense of place, which just means they're really attached to their place.
Right.
And I think there's a couple of reasons you can kind of sum it up. I've talked about it lots of times before over the years, but one thing is just the beautiful, stunning landscape. You want to be part of it. Like me and Matt walking by the creek today, and then the beautiful ridge here behind us. Even though we call it a goat bluff, you just really want to be part of it.
Yeah.
The other thing would be those familial ties. The culture is definitely family centered, and if you go off and travel the world, you're not going to be with mom and daddy and mama and papa and granny and just aunts and uncles and cousins and all that.
I couldn't imagine not having a sense of place, and I know a lot of people don't. And that's fine, there's nothing wrong with it, but I just couldn't. I don't see how you can. I don't see how you can get by that way, really.
Yeah.
Without having. I guess it's just because that's just my opinion, and it's kind of narrow, I guess. But I just don't understand how you can not belong somewhere to the point that you just can't imagine being leaving there.
I think it probably a lot to do with that. Maybe is people that live closer to the land maybe experience that. I don't know. Yeah. But then there's people that love to live in the city, and they couldn't imagine being without the hustle and bustle of the city. You know,
I couldn't imagine being here.
Yeah, this wouldn't feel like home. Right. So it is. We feel we're very. That's one of those things that scholars talk about that is spot on. The sense of place, how people really get attached to their place in Appalachia, and I'm sure they do in other places too. Bob Amos, who was played with Front Range, and he wrote songs, really wonderful songwriter, still writing songs, I'm sure, but he wrote one about the land of Ethan Allen, the hills that I call home, and we just adored it. I think Paul found it first, and we just all fell in love with it. And it's speaking of that same, like Matt said, finding your place, but it's definitely not talking about the hills or the mountains of Appalachia. No. Ethan Allen, was not here. But I think I love that song so much because it can, if you're at the beach, if you're in Texas, California, wherever you're at, the big mountains, the Rocky Mountains or whatever, if you feel like that about your place, then you can identify with that song.
Yep.
Really. I really enjoyed, though, all the conversation this week on the blog about that and people sharing their different thoughts. Like I said, and then some people, they couldn't imagine staying in one place.
Right.
So it's just to each his own, which is a wonderful way to be. You ought to, what is the travel to your own legs? Yeah. Yeah, travel the way your own legs want to travel. It's the way you ought to do it. Mm-hmm. But for us, I guess we're pretty rooted where we're at.
Yep.
It's interesting though, Dory, when she was writing that, and they did, like in 10 years, she named all the places they had lived. But it was in a pretty small geographical area. It was East Tennessee and in North Carolina some. So it's kind of like Matt when he moved out here. It was different. It's 2 hours away. But a lot of the culture and the language and all that, the food and all those kind of things was the same.
Basically identical.
Right, yeah. Just very similar. And I'm sure that's how Dory was, that she experienced that same thing too. But like she was saying, she had not stayed in the same place like that big old oak tree.
Yeah.
Interesting to think about.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's got a little cooler since we went in the house and come back out.
I think it has. That's good.
I smell smoke, which unfortunately means it's coming from the forest fires because there's nobody with a fire today.
Right. Yep. Maybe they'll get them put out, I hope.
I hope so too. Really nice to see my niece and her husband and little baby, and those roots we were talking about. They're not living in our area right now. They're in Kentucky because Zach's been in medical school, and now he's doing part of his training at a hospital there. So they're not here. So it's really wonderful when they get to come home and we get to spend time with them and see them. And I don't know if they'll ever come back here and stay for good once he's through with medical school, or what they'll do. I hope they do, though.
Yeah.
But they certainly feel the pull to come home. Home is a beautiful thing.
Oh, yeah.
Think we're going to get rained on?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Have you come unfed?
Yes.
Yes, I figured. It's pasture.
I'm like that little baby that's here a minute ago. About every 2 hours is what I got to do.
You got to eat about every 2 hours.
Yeah.
He's a happy baby.
Well, he is, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. Sweet. It's interesting. April is almost a year to the day. There's 5 days difference in their birthday, but a year younger than Corey and Katie. And their little baby, Asa, was born in March. So now it's going to be the reversed. It may not be 5 days, but it'll be the reverse order for him and Katie's baby. Mm-hmm. He'll be a year older. Mm-hmm. Asa will be. So that's interesting.
Yep.
Very exciting. Me and Matt'll get to have a little one in our lives all the time instead of just visiting with my brother's grandkids.
Yep. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. I've been practicing up with Asa while he's been here this week. He's been sweet.
Yep.
Are you ready to go in and get you something to eat?
I am.
I think you might need to build me a fire if it gets any chillier. It's a little airish since we come back out.
I can do that if I need to.
Could sit beside it on these dreary days like this. Makes you want to have something good to eat and sit by the wood stove.
Yeah. What I like's a big loaf of bread cooking on top of the wood stove.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't done that in a long time. I need to make us a pan of bread or a pan of biscuit bread or something on top of the wood stove.
Yeah.
That's hard to beat.
You need to go down there and make me like a whole meal.
On the wood stove?
Yeah, make me a whole meal.
If it'll get cold enough and stay cold a few days, I will. We can get it really going.
Can't have a wood fire when it's 75 outside.
Well,
I mean, I guess you can, right? I guess you can, but we don't usually.
The old timers did that, but now I ain't as tough as they was.
Mm-mm. We're always grateful when you stop by to help us celebrate Appalachia. On days that we get to make a garden, and like today, we just kind of wandered around and looked at the creek and the leaves and talked about how deep our roots run in these mountains.
Is our children gonna come home?
I don't know. Don't look like it, does it?
No. Or our one child?
Yeah. Well, I think Corey's. Well, I don't know if she's coming with her, but she's coming back this evening.
I bet they went to our house.
Austin's going hunting. Yeah.
Yep.
He's awful cute, ain't he?
Yeah.
Awful happy.
Yeah.
He just smiles. Just smiley. He's a little chunk.
Yeah, he's a chunky little boy.
He's so cute. Just so happy. I like to hear him squeal.
Mm.
I said he was practicing to be a Baptist preacher.
Yeah.
That wind's cold.
Well, cold there in that, ain't they?
Yeah. Which I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it to be winter.
Changed my mind about hunting this evening.
We go hunting again.
Nah, I'm not going to, but it kind of makes me wish I would have. I'm too far behind now.
No, you ain't. What time is it? 3 o'clock?
3. Need to be up there right now if I was going to go.
Yeah.
I think I'll stay here this evening.
All right, well, let's go in and get us something to eat.
I'll stay here and stay close to that big old pile of pecans in there and eat on them.
No, they're good. I've been eating. Get me one every time I go buy them.
Well, they're good. They're so much better than store-bought.
Yeah, they're fresh.
They got a real deep flavor that I
I
like.
wish we could have pecan trees here, but it just gets too cold. I've heard people say that if you shelter them and all this stuff, but we couldn't right here on the north side of the mountain. We couldn't.
By the time we're
There's
too
no-
old to be planting trees to get fruit off or nuts off of.
I know, but it's just too
Golly.
chancy here because you just don't know. There might be one year you'd get them and then 5 where you wouldn't.
2 of them houses down there where we hunt's got great big giant pecan trees in the front yard.
Do they?
And there's a little ground laden full of them.
Why don't you bring them home?
Because I'm busy hunting.
Yeah.
Could get one of those little, I don't know what you call them, little rigs that they roll around on the ground and pick them things up with.
Yeah. Pick them up.
Yeah. I have actually picked them up off the ground as I'm walking by there and eat them.
Where's that place we took them one time when we was down there in Washington or something and had them crushed, or we just washed them?
Lexington.
Cracked. It was Lexington.
Yeah. Yeah, they used to have a big place there that had a bunch of crackers, and you could buy them if you could find somebody that had them that was selling them, and then take them there, and they would
They would
crack them
crack
for
'em.
so much a pound.
Yeah, we did that one time, didn't we?
Now, we used to
I
do a
told
lot when I
Corey
was
that.
young.
Corey was talking about that the other day. She's talking about the Christmas store that was there. Was
Yeah.
that in Washington or was that in
That was
Lexington? I told her Washington. What am I thinking about?
That was when we hunted over in a different county.
Yeah.
When I was young, way back yonder, we'd always buy pecans before Christmas and then take them and have them cracked and
Yeah,
take them
take
home.
'em
We'd
home.
have 10, 15 pounds at a time.
They eat.
Yeah.
They're
Can't
good.
eat too many of them.
Oh, I know.
Hurt your belly, but they're
Yeah,
good.
They're good. Nuts and oranges always make me think of Christmas.
Mm-hmm. I like English walnuts too.
Yeah, I like them. Granny always get nuts at Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Have them in a bowl with a nutcracker.
Mm-hmm.
You ready?
I'm ready.
All right.